Hello everyone, welcome to another video. Thank you so much for joining us again. Another Sunday has come around so quickly, but we are making some really good progress. In the last episode, in case you didn't see it, we successfully drilled 2 holes in the casting in a straight line. Fantastic, really good. Which means in this episode, we can go over to the lathe and actually start making the next sort of jig, I guess, or fixture, whatever you want to call it, that's going to slot into those 2 holes, and that will also confirm that the 2 holes are concentric with each other. The idea I've got is this solid steel bar will go in, locate in the 2 holes that we drilled, and then go up, and that should line up nice and central to the top of the casting. If the holes are ever so slight, I didn't clamp it to the bed perfectly straight and the holes have been drilled ever so slightly at an angle, when I put this bar in there, it would sit over on a wonky old angle and we've ruined another casting. Anyway, let's get to the lathe and see how we can get on. Hello? No, I haven't had an accident. Oh my God, so annoying. It's a good time to thank today's sponsor, Incogni. Every time I come to the workshop, I'm in the middle of something, machinery running, gloves and goggles on, and then I get these phone calls from people pretending to be my insurance company, trying to pretend to be the tax office. These spam phone calls drive me mad. They're so annoying. Luckily, Incogni are here to help. All of your personal information that ends up online, your name, address, phone number, anything you input, all of that information can be gathered by data brokers. And that can end up in the wrong hands. And that can lead to phone calls like I've just had. Removing this much personal information from the internet would be a massive job. And I love a massive job, but I would not know where to start with this. Luckily, Incogni can do that for me. It's so simple to set up an account, give them permission to work on my behalf, and they will approach all of these data brokers and get my information removed from their lists. Then I can finally have some peace and quiet. It's so easy, even an idiot like me can do it. They will handle any objections from any data brokers and, most importantly, keep you updated every step of the way. If you would like to get rid of those pesky privacy poachers, click on the link in the description below, use the code DOMCDEAL, and you'll get a massive 60% off your annual plan. What's better than that? Right, where was I? Let's get back to the lathe. Right, I've got it. That process was long. That was a lot of material to remove. And I know the lathe is quite big and sturdy. I probably could have taken bigger bites than I did. I was doing about 1 mil, maybe 1.5 mil at the most. This is actually the old ram from my mega crane. So the big Harvey Frost crane that I used to wheel the Ranalahs around. When I had that rebuilt, the hydraulics, the original chrome plated ram was just knackered. So I had to have it rebuilt and replaced. This is the old one. I kept hold of it and it's working perfectly, really good. So that is what I've come up with. The small diameter is 26 mil, I think, 25 mil. For the bottom, for the threaded nut insert, the next step up is for the next bit on the casting. And then this bit, I've just skimmed over the last bit just to make sure it's all nice and round, because this is going to be going on the mill next. So if it fits in the casting. Let's find out. This really is the moment of truth. Let's see if it all fits and lines up. Oh, How satisfying is that? After the last couple of errors we've had, it's about time things are going our way. I'm so chuffed that that fits, and look how nicely it lines up with the top bit of the casting, proving that the mega drill is doing a fantastic job. That's all lined up really nicely. We've fixtured it all up and lined it all up nicely. It's also showing how nice of a job East Coast Castings do of these castings, because this is it's a complicated sort of shape because there's such a big gap as the big arch goes round. That top piece of the casting could very easily, through the heat and cooling and contracting and the pattern making, and the actual sort of sand cast making, that could so easily twist, very, very easily, and veer over one way. But it's so perfectly lined up. I'm chuffed. I'm absolutely chuffed. That just, the way that just dunk located in, it's like, yes, this is it. This is working. We're getting somewhere. Oh, it's a shame John's not here to celebrate with me. So that's the bottom part of this sort of jig set and confirmed and working. Now I need to deal with the top part. I'm going to actually use this same piece for various different things. I'm going to put some flats on it with the mill, which will use to make sure when you'll see later on, but when the Ranalah's on its back on the bed of the drill, we can use the dial indicator to make sure that it's actually horizontal. That would tell us it's 90 degrees to the first holes. I'm going to use the top part of it to actually mark where the center of the top hole should go. That way I can make sure again that the top hole is dead in line with the bottom two holes. Nothing can go wrong because that is a solid piece of steel. It's nice and straight, it's nice and true, and I can use the machinery that I've got to make sure that hole is dead in the center, so nothing can go wrong. So on the future castings, it will just be a case of drilling the first two holes, slot that in, center punch in the top, back on the drill, indicate to get it level, drill another hole. This is working. It's working. I'm not going mad. I've made one little modification very quickly. I just moved everything down 10 mil. So there was a little bit more sticking out the bottom. And then I've cut that down. Unfortunately, M12 is the biggest die that I had here. So now I've got an M12 thread sticking out the bottom. I can put a washer, probably a little bit of lever there to take out the draft angle. And I can put a nut on there so I can nip this up once it's in position. And then I'm just scribbling on the front with a Sharpie now what I think I'm going to do. So if I take away about half the material here, this whole chunk, if I take that away, I'll have a dead vertical line there and a nice flat surface. Then I can work out the height that I want the center of the axle to be, and then drill a hole through this piece for my center punch. And then I'm going to do all the way down here, all of this section, that whole bit on the front, I'm gonna machine down, but not quite as far. So I've got a flat there. By having that flat on the front, I'll have a nice flat reference point I can work from. I've got to interrupt things very quickly just to say a massive thank you for everybody that went onto the Ranalah.co.uk website and bought a sticker pack. They sold out in the first day, which kept me busy for the rest of the week trying to sort out how to post them all. Hopefully a lot of you have started to receive them by now. Maybe hopefully already got them. Leave me a comment below if you have received them and let me know any feedback. I hope you like them. More stickers will be coming back soon along with some more merch, but we'll be a few weeks off from that. Let's get back to this drill. So this is the setup that I've spent more than a day getting ready. The Mini Ranalah is bolted to the bed of the drill. I've got an angle block on the back that is bolted down and it's bolted back to that. That's obviously 90 degrees and nice and square. I've done some upcycling and I've repurposed the tower, the block that I made before for the mag drill. That is now an upright on the side, and I've used my dial indicator on the top of the drill to run along the top of the little jig that we made to make sure that it's actually sitting flat, which it is. And this is a transfer punch. So this is like a center punch. It's hard on the end, and you put a hold on the metal like a normal punch and hit the end with a hammer, and it leaves a little indent, which is a little start for the drill bit. I've just bought the whole set that come in all different sizes. This is 10mm diameter. So it basically finds the center of a 10mm hole. So I drilled a 10mm hole in the end of the jig. Now I can use that, and it's got a little sort of sharp prong on the end, and that is dead in the middle of that 10mm hole. Now I know I've trued up the jig and it's all nice and level. I can drop that through the hole, tap it with a hammer, and put a center punch just where I want it, in the center of, not in the center of the top casting, because the casting could be slightly twisted, but centrally in line with the bottom two holes. That's the critical thing. If these holes don't look dead in the middle of the casting, they may well not be. They're definitely not on the original ones either. It's all about the holes that I drill being in line. Bear in mind, this is the prototype. This is number one, the very first one. So I'm learning as I go on this one. But it's all lined up, it's all centered. But I'm gonna fire up the machine now and drill this hole. Wish me luck. There's no going back now. I've drilled the hole. I may well have ruined another casting. I hope not though, and I won't know until I actually start assembling everything and it all really comes together. But this is the test one. This is close enough for me to build it, get it down to Jeff Moss at MPH Motor Panels, and he can have a play with it. There's obviously room for improvement everywhere, but I'll keep developing them as I go. So I'm chuffed. We are done with the mega drill for now. So I'm going to unbolt everything, get the actual Ranalah frame off, And then the next thing to start looking at is the top axle for the top wheel. That's the first thing that needs to go in. Look at that. I can't tell if it's completely in the right spot in relation to the bottom two holes yet. I need to get the axles and the wheel in place and all of that, but it's looking good. I'm really, really pleased. It's looking promising. It's so nice to see it sitting there with all the holes in it ready to go. All it's waiting on now is me to spend a good few hours at the lathe making all the components. I'm gonna try and make them all myself for the first one because I kind of fancy the challenge. It is a challenge making things just to size. I've got some bearing retainer from Worth, which I'm going to try and glue in the axles to the casting. See how that goes. As this is a modern Ranalah, I'm making the most of modern adhesives. But before then, I'm jumping ahead a little bit because before then I've got a lot of work on the lathe to do, making all these axles and these components. The cradle for the lower wheel moves up and down on an axle, and that shaft is keyed. And I have never even dreamt of trying to actually make a keyway before. So I'm gonna get some key steel ordered. I'm gonna try and find a broach set, and we're gonna have a go at making a keyway. The components I'm making now are all just for the prototype. When these actually go into production and Jeff's happy and I'm happy and we're all happy, all of these pieces will be drawn up and there'll be CAD drawings and they'll be CNC machined. So they'll be a lot more accurate. But at the moment, I'm quite enjoying just playing. And next week we're going to hopefully be broaching and having a go at making a keyway. That'd be quite fun, and gluing in all the axles. But first I need to make them. That's all going to happen in next week's episode. I really hope you've enjoyed this one. Please leave me some comments below. Any feedback's always welcome. Thank you so much for everybody that's given us help along this step of the way, and a huge thank you again, of course, to Incogni for sponsoring this video and making all of this chaos possible. Go and show them your support by clicking the link in the description below. Make sure you use that discount code and you too can get rid of those annoying phone calls. Thank you so much for watching. We'll see you next week. It's going to be a good one.